about 1 foot, foot and a half difference, roughly. It doesn't really matter. Just make your string strands longer than your bow. And then you can always change the knot at the end to whatever length you want. It just, this helps prevent waste. And that's one.
So keep it in your head. 2.
We're gonna cut them and bring them all together. You're gonna cut them on both sides if you can. And you should have 7 strands, so count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 strands and they should be roughly equal length. Let's see. Yep. And you can make this with yucca, sinew, a whole bunch of different fibers plants. So it doesn't have to be this Dacron. Right now it's winter for me and I didn't want to go out and harvest yucca. I'm still learning how to use yucca as a cordage, but I will do that in the future. And I like to take my strands of 7 and lay them across a chair or something so you can keep them separated, because you need the 2 strands. And ideally, if you could swing it, get 2 different colors. I was looking for my black string, but I seem to have lost it. So I had to order a new one. That's why I delayed this video. But, you know, if you're working with yucca or sinew, it's all going to be the same color anyways. So it's not too difficult. But yeah, just some heads up. All right, now on to the second one. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, so all 7. Let's get them all together. Some are a little longer than the other, but that's okay. We can trim them down later. Okay, so now we have our 2 strings, or 2 strands of 7. And you can do more, you can do less. There's, you know, depending on what material you're using. Some people like to use the Fast Flight stuff, and I haven't really messed around with that stuff. I'm sure it works, but this is what I learned with, and it does have a slight wax already on it. You can definitely make or add beeswax to it if you're gonna do the other method of making bowstrings where you don't really do the Flemish twist all the way down. You just do it at the top, then go to the bottom and do it the opposite direction. And then you leave it in the middle and it's just a single strand, and usually you do a serving, which some people like. I kind of look towards the more like indigenous or like traditional people in Africa or South America where they don't do any of that. They just make a braid or a strand all the way down, and that's it. And those people inspire me more than some of the people on YouTube because they make it simple. You know, there's no measuring really. They just kind of know and from experience. So, I mean, this is my third or fourth bow I've made, and I've had to learn so many lessons because I don't have a mentor. And books can only help you so much. So I encourage you, if you have an interest, just start. Just go get something, learn the mistakes, be willing to understand that, yes, you can do research and prepare, but sometimes you're just gonna have to learn the hard way. Moving forward, I have this strand on this leg, I'll have this strand on this leg, and you wanna have your bow with you. I have my bow right here, and you need this because when you start the strings, you're gonna need your bow, the width of your bow, and you need to make your loop when you have it, the end string loop that you make, you need to have that at the tightness for your bow. Otherwise it'll be too loose and you can't really adjust it without taking the whole thing apart, which is a pain. So you want to have it and then adjust it for that so it's tight fitted, and then you can do the other knot, and that's the more adjusting knot, or the knot for adjustment. Do your best to try to prevent the tangling. So how I learned is you have your two strands, okay? You go down about 8 or 9 inches, about equal distance, 8 or 9 inches. You cross them and make sure you kind of twist them up. I like to kind of just, like I said, they have that wax, so, and you can use beeswax to make this a little bit easier, but I keep them twisted. And then you start and you work this way. So for me, I pinch them with my right hand or my left hand, grab this top, turn it towards away from me, grab the other one with my middle finger, pinching against my index and thumb, twist it, keep pinching with your main hand, and then keep that rotation going. And you just keep moving your pinch around. And that's the Flemish twist. And you'll start to see, but make sure at the beginning you have that pinch good. So I'm turning it towards you or away from me, rotating it, and I'm not really straining. So you'll do this and you'll get some tight knots or tight twists, and you're just kind of slowly moving your thumb that's holding it together with it. And just keep the same pattern, don't adjust it because then it'll all come undone. Just keep doing that and make sure, try your best to keep these from the two strands from becoming intertwined and knotted, because then you got to go do the last step all over again. And you don't have to do the whole strand like this. Just leave a few inches at the end, and we'll intertwine those. You just want enough to make the actual loop that goes around this. Let me move this. keep these two separated and see where we're at. I might be there already. So I'm bringing in the bow. Oh, need something to hold this with. And you're just kind of testing it. And that's how I want it. I can't show you, but basically it's pretty tight. You want it so it's tight in here and it ain't coming out. So if you're trying to pull it back, it's not going to fly back and break your bow or hurt you or anything. So you can take that out. And now you have these two strands. As you come back and you pinch these together and you add them to one of the strands. It's a little bit hard for me. So then you just keep doing the same thing and you go all the way down. So it gets pretty repetitive. And this is where you want to make sure you keep them untangled. And just every few or so, just, keep them, try to keep them isolated. And once you get past this little hard area, it gets a lot easier, at least for me. What you can do is you can put this around your toe and see if you can see it. You can see it's a Flemish twist, and it doesn't have to be super perfect. It's really just more about the strands, but And if you're gonna use Fast Flight, I've heard of people adding more smaller strands towards the areas with the bowstring, which makes sense because you want to reinforce it, but it's up to you and the performance you want and the longevity of your string. If you don't want to be doing this all the time. And this is gonna have some memory or twist into it, so you gotta stretch it out. It's plastic, so it's also gonna be a little bit elastic, and until you get it to its max limit, it'll stretch. So if you make it for your bow, or if you put it on your bow and stretch it out or try to pull it back, it might not be at the, like, you know, when you, I can't think of the word, it might not be at the brace height you want. So if you put at the handle to the string, it should be within this range, like about at where your thumb ends, or a little bit more, or a little bit less. So that's where the bow should be from the belly of the bow. And I'll explain that more when I put the bow string on. And what you do when you finish up this string is, I just like to get to where I get as much of the string as I can incorporated into it, and tie it into an overhand knot just to prevent it from coming undone. And as you can see, this might be too short, but it might have that memory and it might be holding it back. So all right, I've made it at my end, and let's tighten it. Can. And now I'm gonna put my toe in this, and I'll move you guys back. I'll put my toe on the string loop, and now you see it doesn't seem like much, but it is stretching. And it's about 6 feet. This is kind of where you want it. And it seems like it's going to be too short, but just stretch it out and it'll get longer. I guarantee you. Of length. So see, from when me just standing on it and stretching it, it's now a wingspan apart. And for those who didn't know, my wingspan is actually taller than me. So I'm one of those lucky individuals. It's supposed to be your height. So maybe I was supposed to be a little bit taller than what I really am. So it's about 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", one of those. All right, so let's get it on here. Oh, I have it backwards. Get it on here. All right, so I got it on the other end. You can step. So this is the bow. I'm putting my foot through it and using my other foot, my opposite foot. Whoop. There must have been a nick or something because it just broke off right here, so it's gonna keep slipping out. Let me try to go get the file and some sandpaper and I'll fix it. So my solution is gonna be, I'm gonna use this little file and come in off the back and kind of make a little channel for it. I know you're not supposed to cut into the back, but it would, I think it would help. And this is a little bit too high, but if I leave it like this, it should stretch out over time. So I might leave it sitting like this for a little bit, and I'm gonna step back and see, look at my floor tillering. As far as I can tell, it's a little bit more up here, it's bending more, so, but it's also not sitting proper. It may need some more work on this side, or actually this side, sorry. Looks like it needs some removed right here, but it's about an inch too high. So let me work on that with some sandpaper, and I'll let you know what happens with that. But first I'm gonna let it sit like this for a little bit. Okay, I just want to say what I did for the brace height. So I did not end up sanding or filing anymore, though I'm kind of curious because you can tell with this, with the bow, the string alignment, it's relatively straight, but you can tell that on the ends they're twisting just a little bit. And on one of these, I took too much off. Let me see if I can get it to focus. Right here, you can tell it's a little bit thinner compared to later on down the bow on the other side too. That was for me trying to cut corners and go faster using a saw, and I messed up a long time ago. It was probably 6 months ago. And then on this side, I also made a mistake trying to also do the same thing. And I cut, instead of having it be a nice tapered edge to the top, it's flat. I used I can't remember if it was a plane. I know I used a saw and I tried to cut it, but it just was way too straight and I couldn't fix it. So I'm blaming it on that, on those decisions. But then from here, it doesn't, it might be slightly off, but I can always move that other end down and make it more to the right, to the left. The brace height was at about 8.5 inches, and then I took off the string and I pulled it up again. I was stretching it since it is new, and it came down about to about 7.5 inches from the center. And I'll show you where it's at now. I was shooting with this little piece of dowel and at these boxes, and it's got a little bit of power. I could probably take out some small game with this, but we're at right about 7 inches, and I didn't do anything besides just play shoot it and let it stretch on its own. So it's kind of working on its own, and I'm cool with it. I don't expect to get any better. It shoots okay for the little piece of dowel. Let me see if I can get a video of me doing that, and yeah, then I'll take it out and shoot with the real arrow. And I'm only shooting from about like 10 feet. I'm actually not, it's ironically, I'm not that good at archery yet. I haven't really shot bows since I was a kid, and even then I wasn't that good. I don't think I had the best instruction, but I'm just gonna brace it on my knuckles, and obviously there's no nocks or anything for me to actually shoot this. I'm just balancing it and using my fingers to hold it. So I'm shooting and barely even pulling it back.